I implemented the baseline of the logic, so finally, when you use cargo run, here is your output. Hello and welcome and good afternoon. The logic of Graphust, as with any other project, will happen iteratively. So for now, the logic is quite limited, but it works. With this you can start building your own graphs. The main limitation of the logic is that all of the nodes will be placed in one line currently. So for this input, the output will look like this, while clearly it could have been arranged in much different manner. You're now able also to reverse the arrows if you want to. You can also choose to use incomplete arrows, and they will just be defaulted. I have also implemented the usage of quotes to, well, quote the text rather than a single letter. I have added very basic usage suggestion and some error messages to go alongside. And I think that's about it in terms of functionality, so let's go to the code. Those lines care about that very basic usage information and also collecting the string arguments. Now we're running the actual logic, which brings us out a string to print out. If it's okay, we're gonna print it out. If it's an error, we're gonna print out the error itself. In the getGraph function, I used my all-time favorite Rust element. So this thing is propagating the error. As you can see, the output of getGraph is really the result. String if it's okay, because that's the graph itself, and also string if it's not okay, because that's the error. The output of read input also is a result. For the OK option, it actually returns a map, but for the error, it also propagates a string. This small question mark propagates the error. So if read input actually will return error, the whole getGraph also returns an error right away and stops execution just in here. We would get the same functionality this way, however, as you can see, it's much more verbose and not so nice to read. So yeah, the error propagation is just awesome. What happens in getPicture was actually covered in the last episode, so feel free to check this out. However, for the read input, let's dive in. The main idea of the highlighted code is really to propagate those errors properly. So if we get inner mappings and any part of those inner mapping is actually an error, then we want to return a full-blown error. If not, we actually just want to unwrap all of those singular items and just use them, because we don't need them to be wrapped anymore. Therefore, the actual logic, apart from getting that inner mappings, actually happens in here at the very bottom. But before we check that out, let's quickly take a look at those inner mappings. This simple code takes care of getting the lines from the text and cutting them accordingly to our own needs. Then we return the inner mapping, which contains of the source characters, the target characters, and the arrow characters. You can also grab the same thing reversed if the arrow is actually pointing left rather than pointing right. Alright, now that we have those mappings and we unwrapped them, we add the nodes. And this for the moment is actually the weak link in the logic, so probably this will change, but we'll see. Add nodes actually does only two things. One, it gathers all the nodes, or rather all the labels for the nodes, then it puts those nodes in one line. Next step is adding the horizontal arrows, which are short and just between two nodes that are close to each other. And whenever we already have an arrow pointing right and we want to draw also the arrow pointing left, we will move it one step below. Whenever we try to connect nodes that are not neighbors, we are actually drawing something that I call vertical arrow. Those vertical arrows need to loop below our nodes. And since there can be more than one, we will actually draw each one step below and below and below. With those simple rules in place, this sort of input will look like this. Here we go. So you can actually see we're looping around for most of those. And that's it, that's the whole functionality for today. Alright, thank you very much guys for paying attention and being here with me, and as always, we can do better as a pack. Bye. Next step is adding the horizontal arrows. So those are the short, sweet lines that we need, or should we... Apparently we've got a new version of CLion.